fact, let's just end racism. We'll have all the schools 50-50 black and white. And I remember my mom told me.
Mandated.
My mom told me that they told her that I was to be bused across town to go to an all-black school.
Woo!
And my mom was like, oh, no, you are not going to make my kid go all the way across town. Because I would have been in a 3-hour bus ride.
Forget about it.
So, anyway.
This is 20 years into, well, when this starts to happen, 20 years, maybe even 30 years earlier, the Democrats started to initiate the breakdown of the black American family.
Oh, yeah, this is critical for the left.
So by the time the 80s came, this was just another step to their final solution.
Oh, wow. Sorry about that, folks.
So just a heads up. You're listening to Smith Radio with Kerry Smith and Brian Smith. We are live every Sunday night, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to be a part of the show, give a call in, 513-888-1538. However, if you're listening to it on Sunday, this episode, don't call in because we're live Saturday.
Yeah.
For the Memorial Day weekend special and everything going on.
We will be at the Indianapolis 500, the 100th running, which is why we're broadcasting today, Saturday, instead of Sunday, because we will probably not be back in time. We have been talking about the race issue here. What is it with the black community that, well, the liberals think Trump will never get a black vote or a brown vote or whatever because he's a racist, and
the New York Times is peddling that this week,
right? And that's what they're saying. That's the narrative. At least that's what they're trying to make the narrative.
Because he's now 1238, he's got the nomination.
Right.
He's no longer presumptive. It is.
Well, actually, he's still presumptive until after the convention. Because did you hear? There's Cruz delegates who have written books about how important they are, and now that they're no longer important, they're coming out with articles saying, oh, no, we can vote how we don't have to vote. Well, our vote really does count, and we don't have to vote. We are still free to vote how we're allowed to vote.
Okay, fair enough.
But I don't want to get off topic too much. But so what I was saying before our station identification was that I spent 12 years in an inner city public school that was about 50-50 black and white from second grade all the way up until graduation, and that is because of our integration program. And I'm not sure how many cities did this, but Cincinnati definitely did this. And what's interesting is what I got out of it was I feel a much deeper understanding of the black culture than almost anybody else that had not gone through the schooling that I did. And one thing I can tell you is it does not surprise me at all that black people are starting to warm up to Trump once they realize that the narrative is a lie.
Well, and think about this too. The people who have been decimated by Obama's policy have been the black community. Work, jobs lost
under Obama.
I mean, he was supposed to be this Messiah, the next coming. He was supposed to be all this, all that.
Well, the idea is,
knew what he was.
The idea is, if you're black, you've been held down. You've been left in perpetual poverty because of the white man who's always been in charge. Because that's what you've been taught.
Right, and it's really weird that Obama picked an old white dude to be a vice president. I never
that was pandering. You needed an old white man because it was believed that old white voters were scared to vote for this young black man. So to put them at ease, we'll put an old white gray-haired man as our vice president. Kind of like the way everybody thinks that Trump's going to have to choose a woman for his vice president because the narrative is that white women will never vote for him. And let me tell you something. There is a giant movement of women for Trump on Twitter, on Facebook. So that turned out to be false. And I'm glad that Trump is smart enough to have figured out that he's not going to need to do that.
Well, they came out this week and his camp made a statement. Said, we won't probably won't be choosing a woman, a female, or someone of color because that would be pandering, and we're not about pandering. We want to choose somebody who's right for the job. It went along those lines. I just paraphrased it.
And like Condoleezza Rice is not only a woman but also black, but she is so far away from being political, and she actually says, "Look, I'm not a politician. I can't be going down this road and trying to run for president or whatnot."
I would love for her to be VP.
Oh, she would be great. The problem is, you'd have to drag her across the finish line because she'd be tripped up easily. The press would say and ask the things, and Trump has figured out how to deal with that. I cannot see Condoleezza Rice. You know who
navigating the waters of landmines.
It's like, let's throw some more landmines out there. You know who is the female version of Trump that I don't think should be vice president. I think should be the press secretary.
Okay.
Ann Coulter.
Oh, of course.
She needs to be the press secretary.
Dude.
She would light them up.
Oh, she would rock it.
Oh,
that would be
Remember
crazy.
when Tony Snow was made press secretary?
Yes.
That was a shocker because this is a guy that was he was a right-winger who was very condescending to leftists in the media.
Right.
And so when they made him press secretary, it was like, what?
That's good
and
stuff.
that's what he did. He was constantly rolling his eyes every time a leftist mainstream media person would ask a BS question at a press conference.
So check this out. Speaking about women and different, nationality, just different cultures. That got Trump over the 1237 hump to 1238.
Oh, huge irony here.
The delegate that gave Trump the 1238 in Colorado, and a woman, and a Cruz supporter.
No.
At one time. Yes.
So she's a never Trumper.
Yes. And she said, no, I'm coming out of the closet. I'm voting Trump.
Wow. And she's gay.
Right.
Wait.
Happy as a lark.
Right.
Just happy as all get out.
Very gay. Well, we are definitely having a gay old time.
So how about the irony of that? And all the things that are going on right now in the news media, they're beside themselves. They don't know what to do.
You know why they don't know what to do? Because they cannot believe that this propaganda narrative bullcrap is not working.
So check this out.
They never anticipated it not working. Now they don't know what to do. So
check this out. This is Trump put this out. It's a montage, and this is these ads, these Trump ads and the Clinton ads, all the ads coming out. Dude, they're like 45-second montages that are put out on the YouTube, put out on the Facebook.
It's got to be less than 45. Right. Like Vine. What is Vine? Like 15 seconds?
Yes. And so Trump's been posting a lot of stuff on Instagram. The video.
Right. Yeah. He had like a 17-second one of Bill Clinton and saying stuff.
That was so damning.
It was like 17 seconds.
Well, Clinton had a cigar in his mouth, and all you heard were the voices of the women that have been
brutalized.
Brutalized by Clinton himself. So this is something that Trump put together in response to all the talking heads and the people the haters. And this, I put this up on Facebook. Follow us, folks. Facebook.com/Smith Radio, or on Twitter @Smith Radio, SMYTH. And you'll get all these little tidbits throughout the week. And I post this up and I said, haters will always be haters, and Trump will always Trump.
I'll leave it to you to speculate on how this whole race is going to go.
Well, I don't think it's likely that Donald Trump will be the nominee.
He is not going to be the nominee.
But he's not going to be the nominee, Chuck.
Donald Trump, who is not going to be the nominee.
Donald Trump is not going to be the Republican nominee.
Donald Trump is not getting to 1237.
He might get to 1,237. Realistically, I wouldn't bet $1 on it.
No, you need a Republican ticket next year.
I know you don't believe that, but I want to go on.
Donald Trump has reached the number of delegates
needed to clinch the Republican nomination
for president.
I'm so honored.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
Okay, and right after that, then it shows Trump. It shows this approved by Trump, and then he says, "We'll see about that."
Awesome.
When Obama says he'll never be president, We'll see about that.
It's getting to the point now. It's getting to the point now where it's starting to feel like such an inevitability that it's starting to scare me to think about what the Democrats. Well, I hope that they're so stupid that they continue to say, "Oh, don't you worry." When it comes down to it, people are going to come out for Hillary. They're going to come out.
What?
And they're going to come out in droves, not to mention all the fraud that we have lined up.
Right. But I don't get all that. I mean, speaking of Hillary.
Well, I'm hoping that because if they start feeling the way we do, which is the inevitability, like the feeling of inevitability is so strong right now, and you just get it because of the sheer numbers, the volume, the different demographics, young people, old people, women, starting to see I see more people that are black that are coming out and saying positive things about Trump than I've ever seen for just about any candidate minus Obama.
The entire GOP establishment is absolutely beside themselves because of the polling and the numbers where he's able to attract the female, the Latino, the black, unlike any GOP that's been able to do it before.
And to me personally, as far as I know, the Latino vote is very it's unknown to me because you see all the protesters with the Mexican flags, and presumably they're not supposed to be allowed to vote, but then you hear about how all these bills passed in California where
motor voter.
The motor voter, that somehow they're going to be allowed to vote, which is really weird because I guess is California, are states allowed to make their own rules?
Jerry Brown, the governor of California, who is an absolute communist socialist, who was governor of California back in the 70s, but got kicked out, then came back to life, Weekend at Bernie's all over again, and they're like, oh, we'll try him on again. So he passes a law saying that you're no longer allowed to open carry a gun in the entire state. That's the first thing he did. And then he said, we're going to pass this law, and it's big in California, because there's a lot of migrant workers or illegal immigrants that work and need to drive.
Okay.
And they say, well, they're driving already illegally, having wrecks and having no insurance.
Yeah, they never get insurance because
they can't.
Driving illegally anyway.
Correct. So Governor Jerry Brown said, hey, I'll solve this problem. We'll let them all have driver's license so they can drive their car and get insurance. And look, if they get a wreck, you'll get paid. See, this is no big deal. No big deal.
You want this. You need this.
Right. And in California, when you buy insurance for your vehicle or for yourself, it's like mandatory uninsured motorist insurance.
Yeah.
It's literally mandatory. So
that was a problem when I was stationed in Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
When I was stationed in Arizona, the big fear was that you would get into a wreck where it's totally not your fault, it's somebody else's fault, and you find out that they live in Mexico. This wasn't people that lived in Arizona. These were people that lived in Mexico. They were Mexican citizens, and they were allowed to drive across the border with their car and not be insured. This was totally legal.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's weird. It's a law that you must have insurance in order to drive on the streets if you're an American citizen. But for some reason, it was totally allowed for them to drive on American streets from Mexico without insurance. Now, the city I was stationed in was right on the border of Mexico, so this was a pretty major problem.
Right. Well, when I've been to Mexico when I lived out in California, and when you drive across the border, depending on your insurance company, they may not be accepted or they may not pay out in Mexico. So right at the border, there's like a little strip mall that you can pull into. It's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's like a little drive-through photo booth mat thingy. And you can purchase Mexican insurance for the weekend. And so you can pay them like $10, $15, and then for the weekend, you'll be covered to drive around in Mexico and to come back.
Wow.
So I paid for it.
Okay.
They also warn don't take rental cars over there because the Mexican government knows it's a rental car and they'll confiscate it.
Oh, my God. gosh, it's terrible.
And you're listening to Smith Radio with Brian Smith and Kerry Smith giving you all the